Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing two more builds once again. Today it's going to be Prismatic. Two Prismatic builds. Now, these aren't just like some builds for Arc or something that I just put on Prismatic. These are meant to be based around Prismatic and Transcendence. So, the exotic doesn't always matter, but it does help. So, for this one, I used Assassin's Cowl. So melee kills uh, make you invis, restore health, and shields. Well, not health, but a portion of health. And then finishers increase the duration of the invisibility and the amount of health restored. So with this prismatic build, it's since Hunter Transcendence Grenade is stasis and solar. This is a stasis and solar prismatic build. So the super is Silence and Squall, Gambler's Dodge, Withering Blade for the Assassin's Cowl, and then Swarm Grenade. For aspects, I did Gunpowder Gamble and Winter Shroud, so dodging slows, and then you can ignite a ton of stuff. Fragments, I did defeating targets with kinetic weapons grants bonus Transcendence energy. Defeating targets with your super grants you and nearby allies bonus Transcendence energy. So that's very good, especially if you use a kinetic weapon, like I am for this build. And then defeating targets afflicted with stasis or strand debuffs grants bonus light Transcendence energy. So all the slowed enemies, killing them gives light Transcendence energy. And then rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates a matching damage type elemental pickup. So either a stasis shard or a fire spark. So either grenade energy or melee energy. And then finishers create a detonation that this is based on your super. So finishers create a slowing detonation, which works with Assassin's Cowl also. And then collecting an elemental pickup or destroying a tangle grants Transcendence energy of the same type. So that works with this. So fire sprites and stasis shards, those give Transcendence energy. And then rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. So using your grenade gives melee energy, and using your melee gives grenade energy. For weapons, you can really use any weapon in your kinetic slot as long as it's a kinetic weapon. I use Kvastov. It's pretty nice, pretty good for this build. You could also use Conditional Finality from Root of Nightmares, since it shoots stasis and solar, but not a lot of people like using shotguns. So here I use Kvastov. You could also use something like Necrochasm, which is lots of explosions, or something like Ace of Spades, which is solar explosions. Then I use Aberrant Action, Solar Rocket Sidearm, with Incandescent, which is very good. Everything gets scorched. And then you can really use any power weapon that's stasis or solar. I used a stasis machine gun with Dragonfly, so that'll make stasis explosions. And then for the artifact, since this season or episode doesn't really focus on stasis or solar, this build is kind of tricky with the artifact. So I did, for the champions, I did machine gun, sidearm, rocket launcher, so you get all three champions. And all the rest, it doesn't matter. You can just pick what you want. Besides, like, there's a couple things that work with this build, like Elemental Siphon, where rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon, or a weapon matching your super, make an elemental pickup that matches your super, that works. And heavy ordnance regeneration, so machine guns give damage resist and ability regen, but The other stuff, I mean, you can just really do what you want. Maybe match stuff with the other builds you use if you don't want to change your artifact for every build. And then for armor, for the helmet, I do strength, special ammo finder, harmonic siphon, and solar siphon. But you might want to do kinetic siphon, and maybe solar siphon, and I don't know, take off special ammo finder if you want for your kinetic to make orbs. Gauntlets, strength, momentum transfer, impact induction, and harmonic loader. Chest armor, strength again, double unflinching solar aim, and then harmonic resistance. You don't have to do harmonic resistance, but you can. Leg armor, strength again, recuperation, invigoration, and then stasis holster. So your machine gun will get reloaded. Then class item, cloak. I did strength. Since it's artifice, I did intellect, outreach, reaper, and then bomber. So that's pretty much the build. Like I said, conditional finality, you could do that. And then do like a solar weapon here, stasis weapon here to balance it out. But I find that kinetic weapons are a lot better since kinetic weapons give light and darkness transcendence energy. And Kvostov is a really good one. It's new with the final shape also. The next build is pretty much the same thing but with a different exotic. So I used Lucky Pants, which you might see a lot of these Lucky Pants builds. So I did Lucky Pants, which just makes your hand cannons a lot better. With Malfeasance, one of the best hand cannons in the game. Also good against unstoppable champions. And then all of this stuff, besides the fragments, it's all the same. Because it's still a Prismatic Transcendence build, it's just different exotics and fragments. There are similar fragments though, so kinetic weapons give bonus Transcendence energy, same thing. Light damage grants melee. Grenade damage is darkness. Light, darkness, or super matching elemental pickup, that's the same. This one's different. Defeating targets while transcendent creates orbs. And then while transcendent, your ability final blows explode. That's really useful. And then increases the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a stasis crystal or frozen target. And increases area of effect of solar ignitions. So like I said, Malfeasance, you can use any hand cannon, but this one is really good. Especially with the catalyst. You can use legendary hand cannons. There's a really good one from the new dungeon, Sunder Doctrine. But that can be hard to get. If you want something that's easier to get, then you do Malfeasance. Or like Ace of Spades or something. And then I did Aberrant Action still. Rocket Solar Sidearm. And then this time I did a Void machine gun commemoration, which is probably the best machine gun in the game. You can use any power weapon you want. I just use commemoration because it's just reliable. Then artifact, like I said before, you can just choose anything you want because stasis and solar aren't really on here. For armor, helmet I did level 1 discipline, special ammo finder, kinetic siphon, and kinetic targeting. For gauntlets, I did strength, kinetic loader, 2 of them, and then fastball. Chest armor, I did intellect, unflinching kinetic aim, arc reserves. That's gotta get changed. I used to have um an arc rocket sidearm, but now I use solar. Cause when I made this build, there wasn't any solar rocket sidearms, but now there is. So, and then harmonic resistance, you don't have to use that if you don't want it. Leg armor, intellect, recuperation, innervation, and then kinetic weapon surge. So better damage for your malfeasance or whatever hand cannon you use. And then class item, I did discipline. Since it's artifice, I did resilience. Distribution, so you get better ability cooldowns. I did 2 of those. And then outreach, so you get better melee. And that is it for the prismatic. It was pretty short since no artifact stuff. And I might make some more prismatic builds. I just gotta find some more stuff to use. I'll probably make it with the exotic class item. That will work a lot better. So, have a good one, that's all.